Cinema, the only show that's 3 dimensions away from all the movies in the world being rebooted again. I'm your host, 3D Jake, and today we're looking at The Lost City. The Lost City was a movie that came out this year that stars Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum, as well as Daniel Radcliffe and Brad Pitt. But the movie itself was originally titled The Lost City of D. But then, of course, they dropped the D because, they said there was apparently a movie called The Lost City of Z, and they didn't want to be confusing the title, so they just dropped it to Lost City. And the movie kind of it feels like almost like I would say a ripoff, but like a spiritual remake of Romancing the Stone. Only I would say, or even Nim's Island. I've been heard to the comparison of Nim's Island and Romancing the Stone. I would say it's more of Nim's Island, but with like a few changes and more comedic. Well, and I know you're wondering why not the 3D glasses. Well, they're still here. It's just I did a live stream the other day with another fellow YouTuber, and I wore the glasses for 2 hours, and then I could not see afterwards because all I could see was red and blue in one eye, red on one eye and blue on the other eye, and I'm like, I am not wearing my glasses, these glasses in this review. I am not, because I am not. I'll still wear it eventually again, but I'm not gonna wear it in this review. I'm like, I'm just gonna stick to the regular glasses. But I will say this movie is fun. I mean, I really like this movie in a lot of ways because I think the movie itself has a lot to offer in the sense of it's a comedy that's obviously we've seen this trope before. Woman goes to island and chaos and shores, and it's the buddy team up movie we've all seen a couple of times already. But I will say what's interesting is the hero is not really like Channing Tatum. He's more of the idiot. Sandra Bullock's more tougher than she is at one point. Because at one point, to the rescue. Because, spoilers if you haven't seen the movie. Brad Pitt's in the movie for a little bit. And Brad Pitt's like this tough guy that she writes about in the novels. Where like the tough guy saves the day. And he does all this cool stuff. And Channing Tatum, even though he's the cover model for her book. So because the movie, she's an author who writes a bunch of books, romance books. And Channing Tatum's usually the cover model for the books. And in her head, he is who she looks like. He is the ideal look for the model. And so, of course, people look at him like a cover model and everything because he's on the cover and all over the books and everything. And so, people are basically, of course, she gets kidnapped by Daniel Radcliffe, who thinks the book is like, there's some hieroglyphs in the book that are like, oh my god, this is real and stuff. And so, you got to help us come find the Lost City because your husband was an archaeologist and we're going to go out and find this Lost City. And she goes, it's just the books that I took some symbols in and put it there to make it look cool. And they think, okay, well, we're going to kidnap you and bring you anyway. If you don't help us, then we're just going to kill you. So it's like, okay. And so she gets kidnapped, and then Channing Tatum sees her getting kidnapped, and chaos ensures. And he has to, and then his apparently yoga instructor, played by Brad Pitt, is like this badass, special ops guy who is actually like a hero-esque guy that she would write about in the book. And so he goes like there, Channing Tatum goes there to give him the phone to track her, but instead she goes there and so he goes with him, and of course he's an idiot, Channing Tatum, because he's like never done any danger or nothing, and so he just runs around. Like at one point there's a funny sequence that I really love where Brad Pitt's taking out all the guards and Channing Tatum's just sneaking behind him. Like he takes it out and the guy just slaps him. Brad Pitt knocks the guy out and slaps him in the face. I'm just like dude, really? I'm like, come on, man. Like seriously. And it's like, good work, but he was already down. It's like, I'm just like, it's so funny. Like, Channing Tatum's pretty funny. Like, there's a scene, like, there's a couple of ones that made me laugh, and I actually do like the banter between Daniel Radcliffe and Sandra Bullock in the movie, because he's the villain of the movie, and, he is so great in the movie, because he plays this bad guy who just straight up hates Sandra Bullock, because, like, he doesn't hate her, but he just doesn't like her that much. He's like, look, just, give me, he's trying to be the benefit of the doubt, but he's not like a psycho villain, but he's just like, he basically does, kind of, you could tell he wants to, his brother, he's always known as the, the lower Fairfax, and he really wants to be like the up top guy, because that's how he's hoping to find this treasure to be popular. And of course it doesn't go his way at all. And so, I mean, it's kind of funny. There's some funny moments in the movie. Like, there's some stuff I didn't like in the movie. The stuff I did love, I love that Channing Tatum, like the whole movie. Like, there's a few funny, like some scene with some leeches. I thought that was so great. And I also thought, like, the scene, because he's just like, they're always like, why are they in my butt? And I love all Brad Pitt stuff in the movie. I also really love the scene where Brad Pitt's going, not Brad Pitt, but Channing Tatum's going to rescue her on the little dirt bike. And he's like, who is that guy? And he goes, he's special ops. And he goes, no, I know him from somewhere. I know, wait a minute, he's your cover model. Like, I just started laughing. Like, stuff like that made me laugh. And I also love that, the agent, Sandra Bullock's like, was it a publicist or agent? She goes to, like also rescue her, but she goes later on. And so she has to get a plane there, a charter plane, and then she gets like a charter boat and everything, and she ends up running to Oscar from the office, and he's like, she goes, and he's like, hey, you gotta tell me he said, you're not a serial killer. He goes, no. He just lets us sit there for a second, like, why would you not even get on the plane after that? And just stuff like that made me chuckle. And there's also some stupid stuff in the movie as well, like he's allergic to water. I'm like, okay, I'll buy you're allergic to water, even though that's almost impossible to be allergic to water. And so, like, at one point, he goes in the water, okay, later on, okay? He goes in the water, and when he gets in the water, okay, they're at the end of the movie, they're in the water in the third act, and never once mention the water. Never, ever. I'm just sitting here going, like, he's allergic to water. I thought he drowned. He didn't. I'm like, well, he's allergic to water, so how is that possible? Nothing, you just forget about it? Like, really? And also, Sandra Bullock, okay, it's like, okay, like, there's a scene I thought was so stupid, even though the scene's funny, but the scene where, like, she's like, they're untying her, they can't untie her, but yet they can carry the chair when they're escaping from the place. I'm like, really? They were just carrying, I understand it's for joke purposes, but, like, it's much more of a hassle to carry her in a chair than it would be to just untie her right then and there, and then you all run out. And so, and that's all I thought was stupid. And also, I also called this with the police being corrupted in the movie, where they go to that little small village and the police are like corrupt. I'm like, I said, I guarantee, the second they got there and he told the police, I'm like, they're corrupt. Guarantee you they're corrupt. And I was so right. I'm like, yep. And like if literally, they're like, Brad Pitt also gets shot in the head and killed, okay? They leave the island, and lava is supposed to engulf the island or whatever. So, okay, there's people on the island, and so people are in the island, and yet they're still living here, and lava's supposed to engulf the island. Wouldn't they be evacuating the island? Okay? I'm just saying, stuff like that made me like, this is not very illogical. And also, another thing that I want to bring up, Brad Pitt gets shot. I alluded to this earlier. Brad Pitt gets shot and killed in the movie. And, of course, later in the post-credits scene, he's alive. He's alive, and he's just like a little bandage around his head, which I'm glad they lived. I literally legit thought at the beginning of the movie, oh, Brad Pitt's the main villain, really. Harry Potter's just he's the side villain. He's probably works for Brad Pitt. And I'm just like, that'd be stupid because it wouldn't make much sense because Alan's the one that called him and so forth, and so it just would not make much sense. But I'm glad they didn't do that way. But at the same time, like, Brad Pitt's not going to be in this entire movie with them because it's Channing Tatum. Brad Pitt's name would be all over the poster if he was in the movie with them. So he's going to either disappear, he's going to die, or he's going to be the bad guy hunting them. So, and I was thinking, well, maybe, then when they got to the village, I'm like, well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Brad Pitt is the good guy, but then he sees what they're looking for, a lost treasure. Maybe he betrays Channing Tatum and goes to work for Daniel Radcliffe. I'm like, maybe that. Nope, I was wrong still. And I'm like, okay, well then maybe Brad Pitt, maybe Brad Pitt gets knocked out and then they escape and that's how it is or something. Or maybe he gets captured and tortured. And then I'm like, because I didn't really think he was going to die. I'm like, they're going to kill Brad Pitt. And they kill him. And I'm like, they killed Brad Pitt. And I'm like, really? And like, my aunt, she watched it. She says, I thought he was going to live longer. I mean, just got in there. But other than that, I was like, I really liked the movie. But also I just thought that scene was stupid, though, that Brad Pitt was he got shot in the head and then he lives, and I'm like, you saw his blood go all in his mouth. I'm like, that'd be impossible to do. I did like, though, this movie. I thought it was a fun time. I thought it was a solid, fun flick to watch. I really wish I would have saw it in theaters. I did. I saw it on Paramount Plus. But it's still a fun time. I recommend. If you haven't watched it, I would recommend watching it. It's worth at least a rental or, you know, a Paramount Plus review. I don't think it's a theater experience. It's more of a good rental, though. If I had to give this movie a grade, I would give it a solid B+. Thank you so much for watching.